Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of the Way Above Par sessions brought to you by 3BELOW, where we will be bringing you conversations with golfers, some recreational, some professional, but all with the commonality of having carved a niche for themselves off the golf course, either through various passion projects or through their businesses. Our guest today is the pride of Mysore, Rahul Ganapathy, someone with a very decorated junior, amateur, and professional playing career before he went down the path of becoming a golf teacher. The interesting thing about Rahul is that he decided to give up playing while he was at the very peak of his professional career, something that's not really commonplace among professional athletes. Let's get right into it and have a chat with Rahul, get to know him a little better, see what made him make the choices that he did and where they've taken him. Rahul, welcome. It's great to have you here with us today. I hope Anu, the kids and you are finding ways to keep yourselves entertained through this COVID-19 lockdown.
Yeah, JJ, good to catch up with you after a long time. Yes, the COVID-19 has been something which has been a test for all of us, I guess. And we are coping with it. It's days have been going by, so I think all good. And I've really been looking forward to this meeting with you also.
Let's get straight into it. Rahul, your golf career has been a very interesting one, very unusual one. And I'm sure a lot of people that are going to be listening in won't know exactly what transpired through your career. Give us a little bit of a backstory on your beginnings in Mysore, how you got into it and things.
Yeah, so basically, like everyone knows, I grew up in Mysore. I played most of my golf in Mysore I would say, the first 5 to 6 years. I started very late. I was 15 years old when I started with my golfing escapades. It was never a plan to be a career, for sure. I just picked up my clubs because my dad used to play very often, and in fact, I went and caddied for him a couple of times before I even played. Yeah. And that was one of the reasons I started playing, because I told him I'm quite sure I can do this way better than you can. You know, so with kind of got my golf started, and Dad told me give it a shot. The first main hurdle was being a 15-year-old and from Mysore, where no young kids were playing. It was always a rich man, old man's game, which people deemed it as a full-on old man's game. And I think there was no young kid in Mysore playing. There was one boy or two boys in Poo who used to play a little bit. And then, of course, the closest place like Bangalore, I had Tarun and Gaurav who played a little bit of junior golf. But to be a junior starting in Mysore was something which was the first hurdle that my dad actually had to cross and convince everybody that, no, let the youngster play. So that was the start. And I would actually give everything to my dad. You know, he had a vision, and I guess I went along with that vision which he had.
That was actually going to be my follow-up question. So in the when you were 15, I imagine was in the mid-90s, and you started very soon after you started playing, you started competing on the junior circuit, and obviously traveled to the north and the east and the west, all over the country to play these tournaments. But you were among the first South Indian kids to actually break out and go and play these tournaments, and actually paved the way for the guys that followed suit like us. What was that like, being being maybe the only or one of the few kids from here playing the big tournaments on the national scene? I imagine it would have been like a fish out of water.
Absolutely. The first thing which really put me, totally took me off my bearings was going from browns to greens. That was, I had always played on this surface which is of sand and oil, which was a round brown surface where you sweep and putt. And all of a sudden, I end up in Mumbai in 1996, I think. Yeah, and I'm playing with the top players in the country, top juniors, and playing on greens. I can see slopes, all of a sudden major contours. It was a real eye-opener. And for everyone else, it was like a shocker that I had never seen greens, because we had like 2 hours away from Mysore in Bangalore, but I had never come outside and played. So the grounds were something which I had played on, and my entire feeling was like, where do I drop the ball? Where is it going to stop? Am I going to land it short and run it up? Am I going to land it on the green and let stop? So there was a lot of questions to start with on my practice round. I was totally lost. Obviously, I went from a 19 handicapper to a 5 handicapper in 7 months.
Wow.
When I started playing. Yeah. So going there, I was a 5 handicapper playing junior golf, trying to do something in Mumbai, and I was lost. And I still remember I shot a 23 over or something on my first round as a junior. And it was only the browns which had totally put me off, and new greens, grass surface, speed, everything. I was in total shambles. But I figured something out by the evening, practiced, hit some balls. I told my mom, I said, frankly, this is easier. Because on the browns, we used to land the ball shorter, roll it up, and this was landing it at the flag, stopping it. It seemed easier by the evening, but in the morning it wasn't. And next day I went out there and shot 5 over. So I guess I got it all together within a day. So that was the first hurdle. Then after that, South-North has always been a major thing, like going back to your question. South-North has been really a major, kind of rivalry or a good banter on the pro tour and the amateur tour. It started like that, but frankly, to be very frank, I should say, thanks to that kind of a rivalry which we had, it just asked me to play better golf and try to get in between the top players in the country. And that's what I did. And once I started playing well and I was up there, I earned everyone's respect. Guys were great. And today, all my good friends, my partner, all my decisions rely on the North Indians. They're all my buddies. I have a few guys, you're there, and a few guys down south. But frankly, they're all my best buddies up north. So I would say now it's a great deal for me. But yeah, the start was great. And it was always nice to know that I'm the first South Indian to win a junior tournament, first South Indian to win an amateur event, to win the All India. Then he became the first South Indian to try and win a professional event. So everything just fell into place in the right way.
So after this whole Bombay escapade and figuring out greens from being a kid who grew up on browns and stuff, your career, it progressed quite naturally in the right direction. And you won the All India Amateur and then turned pro quite quickly afterwards when you could
after that.
When you could have stayed on as an amateur and represented the country, seen the world, worn the colors for a few years before making that decision of turning pro. What was the reason for you doing what you did in the haste that you did it? Why did you not decide to wait it out for a few years?
Yeah, see, my ultimate goal was always, once I started playing, winning a junior tournament, then winning an amateur tournament in my first year. My aim was always pro golf. I don't know why, but it was something, an urgency to earn, start my living, get going with my career. That was the goal. So amateur golf was always there. I made a couple of teams nationally, internationally, played the Namura Cup. So I went on to play amateur golf, started playing some good golf, shooting some good numbers, couple of pro events which I got into in Bangalore, finished in the top 5. So it always made me feel that I should be playing pro golf, and sticking with the amateurs, staying there was always a fear of stagnating. And although I had not spent too much time as an amateur, I just kept telling myself, okay, you'll burn out, don't spend too much time here, don't spend too much time. So that was, I think, also one of the main reasons later on the pro decision also became so easy because of these decisions I took earlier. Because I did not want to waste time in any particular aspect or waste time in a particular amateur tour or a junior tour. I wanted to progress. And I
Of
saw,
getting stuck in that rut.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I saw myself in the All India and saying, yeah, this is the time. You're at your peak. You're shooting good numbers. You're beating the best in the country. I think it's time to take a step ahead and have a look whether you can really compete at the higher level. And I wanted to actually, frankly, buy myself time to settle down as a pro, which I teach all my students even today, that you need to have the time, you need to buy yourself some time, go there, give yourself the time to perform. Because nowadays, parents, children, kids, everyone come out there and say, okay, let's play this for a living from day one. We guys always, we all started golf because we loved it and we enjoyed it. We had fun being out there. We played the game, having a lot of enjoyment, a lot of fun. Even our pro careers, we had a lot of time for each other. We all spoke to each other. We all actually cared for our friends and buddies who did not have a good round, did not perform well. And that's something in nowadays world, the kids are actually deviating from this kind of love for the game aspect. They're all getting onto it intense in terms of fitness, training, competitiveness. They're trying to bring everyone down. These are small little factors which are been a struggle in the progress of golf nowadays. Whereas it was only the love of the game, and if you felt like there was a decision, you wanted to do better, wanted to turn pro, you wanted to go ahead, we all just took those and went ahead.
And I imagine the fact that you still have one finger on that pulse of the love for the game, you are trying to inculcate that into the kids that you teach as well, right? Like to bring some of that passion for the game,
Very major.
make it a career and a competitiveness. First, love it for the game that it is.
Exactly. That's something which my kids who I teach, and my own sons, I tell them, you're going to enjoy this game. You're going to play, especially my sons. I've given them the time. One of them are really good. He wants to play the IGO, but I told him, I said, enjoy this game. If you become really good at it, having the fun you're having, then we will make it a profession. Don't start thinking from day one, oh, my dad's a professional, I'm going to be a pro, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. Because the game is a long way off. Trying to win, trying to perform, there are years and years ahead. And by the time you are 10, 12, 13, there are kids today who literally are giving up the game.
Yeah.
And this is something which we as professionals who have had a long career, played amateur golf, played junior golf, we don't want to see kids at the age of 14, 15 saying, oh, I've quit playing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is all because of the result-oriented performance, which they start day one, get out there onto the golf course, pick the best coach, pick the best equipment. Okay, overnight, I want to be the best player. And I know, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Right?
My next question is actually the most interesting one about you, and I've been looking forward to asking you. So when you turned pro, you had the perfect progression curve for a young professional golfer. Your ranking rose every year. You started having more top 10 finishes. Eventually, I think it was in the 08-09 season where you racked up a massive 3 wins, 4 runners up, which is not very commonplace in professional golf to have that kind of a successful run in a 12-month season. Everyone, I think, was curious to see what Rahul Ganapathy is going to do next. But then all of a sudden, you hang up your boots and decided to quit playing professional golf. What drove you to making such a huge decision at such a purple patch period in your career?
Yeah, that's something which even surprised me. That today, to think about it, I was doing so well. You stop. What happened? Basically, I went out there. I played my professional golf, and for us, trust me, towards the last, I would say 2007, 8, 9, it was all about making your money, investing it back, trying to get on the Asian tour. Those were the days where sponsorship was not very major in our country. Today, at least, we have a lot more people coming forward to pick up these players. They are good, sponsor them. Those days, it was the money you earned, you invested back. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened, and that happened year after year. So when I had this good season in 2008 and 2009, I just thought to myself that my son was growing up, my family was there, family was important, and we needed a base. Otherwise, we traveled, I would be in my in-laws' place in Delhi, I would be back home in Mysore, I would be back in Bangalore at my place to practice. I was all over the place. So, as a pro, that's exactly the life we lead.
Suitcase, yeah.
Exactly. And having my son grow up, he was about 3, and we needed a base. We needed a school. We needed to get along with that part of the life. Then I had this vision to create an academy, which I had already started by 2006-07 in Mysore, having a driving range, trying to run it, give a few lessons on the weekends. Not really serious ones. I wouldn't even charge people, but I would just go out there and give a few kids a few lessons. And this was already going on. So when I got a chance, in fact, an opportunity, when I spoke to KGA, or they spoke to me, saying that, would you be interested in running the academy? It was a great, chance to try and get my teaching career going. So I said, okay, there are a lot of players who are teaching and playing. Let me give that a shot. Let me start with this and let me get going. And that was one of the ways where I stopped playing for a bit, trying to see whether I'll be able to teach and play. And then very quick realization said, no, you can't do two things at the same time. So I said, maybe take a year off after winning. Really didn't seem like something which was right, but yeah, I took that decision to teach, mainly because I wanted to start an academy, create an academy. Eventual goal was definitely to become a teacher and have a good academy, have a good set of players under me. So that was it.
But also the basis of that was the priority to be in one place and live as a family, I'm trying to understand, watch your kids grow up and not miss that aspect of life as well for the career of being a traveling.
Yes, have time for the family, have something solidified in terms of place to stay, which is our base, have my son growing up in the right school. And these were the number one priorities which I really looked towards, because my son was growing. Otherwise, we needed to know where we were going to live. We were on and off in Delhi, then we were in Mysore, then little time in our own house in Bangalore. So we needed to really make it sure what was it going to be. And that was the point where we were taking that decision. Because, like I said, the earnings were good, the money was there. So these kind of plans in terms of living, family. So family was like the priority in that.
Super. So now fast forward like a decade later, in the last couple of years, you've now established yourself as one of the top coaches in the country. You're based out of Clover Greens, which is just outside of Bangalore. And you started and are running the Epic Golf Academy. Tell us a little bit more about your facility, how it came to be, and what took you from KGA to Clover, etc.
Moving from KGA as a facility which had 125, 130 junior golfers under me, that was a major step to take. But when I got Clover in place, it always gave me this vision, which was eventually to have my own academy, run systems the way I would want to run it, driving range, operate the way we would want to operate it, and Clover being a place where these opportunities came up, I took it up and obviously I had already created Epic Golf, which is my company, and we were doing junior events and stuff like that. To take Epic Golf to become an academy driving range, this was a good opportunity. So I took it up, took that part of it, and last couple of years we have worked very hard. I have a partner, Mr. Praduman Guleria, who also was another professional from Delhi. So Praduman and I have worked towards creating Epic Golf, creating a fitting center, making the mix and match of teaching and fitting being integrated. Otherwise you have a club fitter, you have a teacher, but both aren't working together.
They need to be.
Yeah, it's always been the teacher gave you the advice that, okay, you need to change your clubs. When you come to the club fitter, he changes, then it goes back to the teacher. The teacher might be happy with the set. He might say, oh, no, I think this is too much, this is that. So these things, there was a small little gap in that. And by setting up this fitting center, which we invested into with a lot of help from Gurbaaz Man also, set this fitting center up. And I think it's basically bridged a gap between player and coach, and teacher, fitting center and coach. This gap which was there or between the three, the player, the teacher and the fitter, has been narrowed down at our fitting facility, at our academy. This is one very major aspect which we have worked towards in the last couple of years. So Epic Golf is going places. We have started something small in terms of a teaching system, in Coimbatore. Very soon we are going to be tying up with Eagleton, which is a pleasant surprise in this interview. And looking forward to the years to come. It's looking good. Epic Golf has gone places for the last couple of years. So I'm really glad that now looking at it, we have a good company and we are in the right direction.
Super. When I used to play, when I was still playing comparatively, and I was in town on Sundays, I used to go out to the academy that I used to train at, and that was my sponsor then, and teach kids. I don't think I have the patience to coach an adult, but coaching kids for me, even if it was just that half a day, once a week, used to end up being a lot of fun, And the few times I've visited you at the Epic Golf Academy, I found that you have a lot more kids than adults under your wing. Is it true for you too that that teaching kids is a lot more gratifying than teaching an adult?
See, the kids are the future of our golf. The juniors are the future of Indian golf. We all know that. And basically giving them the right kind of work ethic, giving them, putting them on a path of dedication, putting them on a path where they need a mentor to look into the game, give them good advice, So spending the time with the kids really seemed like wonderful for me. I always felt like it was a time very well invested. It's a time that's going to go a long way. And it's something which is going to make a coach, a player, everyone famous. So junior golf, teaching juniors, teaching kids, trying to mentor them, trying to give them the right advice has all been something which I've always looked into. I've always given it more importance. So I would definitely agree with the fact that, yes, I gave a lot more interest towards teaching the juniors and students. I wouldn't say I did not want to teach any of the members, because that's where money really comes from, to be very frank. But yes, junior golf was of prime importance and is of prime importance, because the kids just don't need a coach. We all lost into this fact that, okay, let's start teaching the kids, let's get them into learning golf. But it's not about just teaching them to play golf or teaching them to swing the club. It's all the mentorship, the kind of help you give them in terms of a private backing. They have their own personal issues. You're by their side, you're kind of helping them out, and that's what they want. So to be a coach who's not just a coach, but a friend, a mentor, a person who they can look up to, is something which I've developed and try to develop from day one, from the time I started teaching.
Nice. You know, there are a ton of coaches now in India. A lot of kids even go overseas for training. Each coach has one way of relaying the same thing uh, to a kid. You know, it's not a single model that fits everyone. Is there anything unique about the way you teach versus what you've seen out there with other golf instructors?
Like I said, JJ, the teaching, first and foremost, technique is an endless learning pattern.
Yeah.
You're going to keep learning all your life in terms of technique.
Yeah.
Right? Today, we adapt a technique where we like to turn more. Someone says, okay, there is a new technique. George Gankus is good, is firing his hips well. Yeah, there are going to be a million other techniques. Maybe one day someone might say, okay, Rahul Ganapathy teaches this, you get full of power, go with this. These things are a never-ending story.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter still lies that you want to teach in a way that a lot more people start playing golf. You want to be a person who has given everything to this game, who has advertised this game in the right way, who has taken this game forward in the right way. So where this is concerned, I would really say that we as coaches have nothing special from anyone else. Everyone is good. You know, as long as we put in our hours to learn, read books, get up to date with the latest equipment, we are doing. So where Epic Golf and me are concerned, like I said, the journey is now to have bridged all the gaps we have in a player, in a club fitter, in a coach. Try and put all these things, put a team together, because today it's all about having a player to go out there and have a good team on this side. So when you come to our academy, you can spend a couple of hours. You can not just repair your golf swing, you can get your golf club built in terms of something which is suited for you, something which is suited for your body type, because it's not always the technique which is off. And this is something which is not a competitive end between me and my partner, Pradhuman, who's also the club fitter. We don't have any kind of difference in opinion where this is concerned. I tell him, I like the golf swing. The ball may not be traveling good, but it's his problem now to find out that if I like the golf swing, why isn't the equipment responding to that golf swing? This is exactly where we are in the nowadays world. I know, as far as I would like to tell everybody, yeah, I need more players coming to me, coming to learn their technique. I would like to tell everybody that your equipment is of most importance today. It's the equipment which makes the player. A coach can make the player can make the coach, but trust me, equipment can make you a player. And you know it now, from the time we guys used to compete to today, how much importance has the equipment got to do with performing. I would really say that this is something which is a major factor. So when it comes to you asking me, what do we teach? I think I preach good equipment, good team, good technique, try to combine everything, put everything together. And mainly one concept which works very well, do not try to fix something which is not broken. So when a good player, when I see a player like you swing a club, I would definitely say that, man, you don't need to get into technique all the time. It could be the equipment, it could be some small little niggle you have, it could be anything which you can play. But we are trying to bridge this complete gap at our academy. My teaching system is trying to bridge this entire gap of technique, equipment, body type, fitness, trying to bridge this entire gap in the shortest way possible. Trying to squeeze it into a couple hour and a half, 2-hour program, which can really open a player's eyes. And it's been working. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of data we have been trying to collect on these terms. And I think it's going to take a few months and we'll have something really good to come up with.
Thanks. You've just given me a perfect excuse for my shitty golf that it's not me, it's my clubs.
Yeah, you can play the clubs.
But on a serious note, so it's very interesting. It's like, I don't think there are too many facilities where you go and you get sort of a one-stop shop fix for your golfing woes. You know, you have your swing looked at by Rahul, and you go into the workshop, you get your shafts looked at by Praduman, and then when both of you feel that both those aspects have come together, you personally believe that that's when you'll see the best results from each individual player, right?
Absolutely. You know, just a small little example, there was a person at our academy a month ago or just before the lockdown, and he had a small little issue of the ball turning over to the left too much. He had a pretty decent ball swing, but the whole deal was when he came, the weight ports on his clubs were totally off, and which was creating the miss. Right? Now, I picked off on all these things, but it just took 2 minutes for the one action. It just took one small little glance of Pradhaman walking by to look at me and say, let's add some weight on his toe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And right, the guy left a totally different person. So always you standing there trying to squeeze in a drill, trying to work out the right swing path or the right swing plane. It could be a small little thing which created a compensation in his ball swing, which created the problem. So that's why I said, I don't think we should touch anything which is not broken. Mm-hmm. So when a teacher has a system where he has the leniency to go and look into the clubs or check the lie angle of a 7-iron, even before the lesson starts. These are small little protocols we are trying to introduce into the teaching system. That anyone might think, oh, this guy's a 24 handicap. What is he doing checking lying angle? Come on. He also has a body type. He's also tall. He's also short. He also needs to be playing the right equipment to be getting any kind of result. A lot of people think, oh, I'm more light club. Man, if you're swinging it very fast and you're picking up lighter and lighter clubs, obviously your swing is going to go all over the place. Mm-hmm. So we have literally almost reached a point where we say, okay, you're a beginner. First, we build a club to your body type. Then you start learning. For a junior. So when we start the junior, we are of the most importance that the club the kid holds for the first time is the right club. Whether we have to cut it or whether we have to buy him a new set, we don't care. Because playing the right equipment means building the right swing. When we were kids, our dads handed us clubs too heavy. Obviously, we developed a lot of compensation just to manage. We made golf swings to suit the kind of equipment which we got. But today, I would say you have the right equipment, you will automatically build a good golf swing from day one. So these are concepts which we are trying to have standard operating procedures for and trying to write a manual which would sort out these issues.
Very cool. It's in a nutshell and a very interesting school of thought. It's that every golfer must know that essentially you shouldn't change yourself to fit the club that's in your hands. You should in fact have a club built to suit the person and physique and swing and everything that you
are. Exactly.
It's cheaper to do the other way.
Yeah.
But it'll be so much more
so much more advanced, and you're actually solving the problem because by the way you're going to do it, it might be cheaper at the start, but you're going to buy a lot more golf sets as you get better. You've been playing the wrong clubs.
Great. I mean, given everything that you know now about the game and that you've learned and that you've given back to kids and set up your academy that's headed in the right direction, all of that, do you have any regrets about the decision you made in 2010 or not?
No regrets. No regrets. Because to be very frank, if you ask me, do I miss playing pro golf? Yes, I do miss tour life. I miss going on tour, traveling, playing pro golf. But when it comes to was my decision a regret? No, no. I think 10 years from the time I last played Indian Open 2010, uh, I've come a long way in the family aspect, in the teaching aspect, in the career aspect. I know where I'm headed. I have a company today, which eventually I want to make it big enough and, really get it to a different level. I have players just starting to, blossom. I have kids, I have girls who are turning pro this year. So 10 years in the pro teaching line and you're seeing the fruit coming out now. You're actually seeing products of yours going out there trying to perform. You have a lot of experienced teachers in India and the competition of teaching in India with the foreigners coming in is major, and students, kids, parents change coaches like they change clothes today. It's just a trend. Oh, okay, this guy's name is famous, we train under him. So looking at all these aspects, I'm actually very happy with where I've got to in 10 years' time. I have a lot of players, I have them slowly getting to perform. I have them all breaking into the pro scene. They're getting old enough to turn pro. There have been a lot of hurdles, but I think there's no regret. Definitely no regret starting teaching early.
Fantastic.
It gave me an opportunity to see the teaching world at an earlier time and to really build myself into the teacher I am.
Fantastic. Just to quickly jump back now to your playing career, what in your opinion was the biggest highlight of your professional life?
Wow, pro career has been fantastic. I wouldn't say there is one particular highlight. I would like to state two or three of them, starting with the 12 under Indian scoring record, a dream round of golf, something that any one of us as professionals would have enjoyed doing. 10 birdies, one eagle in a round, being flawless. This is all we started playing for. This is all we started practicing hard for, So a day like that was something which I'll never forget. I keep telling all my students about this, keep telling them what it felt like. It's always been something which has been a very major part of my career. Then, of course, waiting for 7 years to win a pro title and winning in Bangalore, that was another part which was fantastic,
In front of your home crowd.
Yeah, home crowd, you worked all your life for it. You've been committed. You've not given up, because there was something which was one thing for sure, that I was never going to stop playing, not winning tournaments. I was never going to do that. I know it. Maybe even today, if I hadn't won for the last 10 years, I would have still been at it. But that was something which was always on my mind, that the victory was something I needed to have. So winning my first pro title was like a dream come true. Another thing was winning that week, going back to Delhi and winning back to back. That was another awesome moment. Once you win, you've broken the shackles, you've broken the jinx, what they call it, and you win again. So that was another great moment to remember. So on that note, I would like to tell you one small little quick story about winning my second title. I was 6 shots back starting the day. Okay.
Day 4.
And day 4, starting the day, 6 shots back at, I think, 12 under par. I was going up against Gaganjeet Bhullar. He was new. He was hitting the ball miles. It was something that, okay, fine. He was a young kid on the block. So I went into that round and started the day quite decently, but nothing fancy. I was a couple under through 5 or 6, and this guy was 4 or 5 over, and I had already caught up with him. Okay. So 6 shots had gone. After 9 holes, I was 1 shot ahead. And I'm walking up to the 10th tee. And I will never forget this moment. I take out a piece of paper, write down my wife's number, and hand it to JP, uh, who's on the PGTI, and tell him that could you just give my wife a call? I think I'm winning today.
No
So please
way.
tell her prize distribution.
Wow.
I don't know where that came from, but that was it. And the minute I went on to the 10th fairway and I'm walking down the 10th fairway, I just realized what I had done. I just said, shit, give the number and told somebody that you're going to win, come for the prizes. That was like a wake up saying that that's how high my confidence was.
Yeah.
And I was not letting it go. And these are moments in life which you'll never forget,
Never forget. They'll give you
Because I've had them.
goosebumps thinking back of it for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. All of us have had them, I'm sure, as a pro.
Yeah.
You have won Asian Games medal. You must be knowing how it feels. There are those small little moments, We guys are golfers. We are crazy. We wake up in the morning, we took something and put it in our left pocket. And if it works, we'll do it for the rest of our life. So that's what it was. So these moments which I had, the 12 under of the list, the win, multiple wins, yes, right up there. And this small little incident which happened, these are something which has actually built up that pro career.
Yeah. Anyway, Rahul, getting away from golf for a second, given that we're all stuck in this COVID-19 lockdown, I'm going to be asking all my guests this one question as to how this has affected you positively. It's a threefold question: how it's affected you positively, how it's affected you negatively, and once we overcome this, what changes you would like to see for us as humanity and for the world at large?
Yeah. So positively, I'm very much a family person. So being home, staying with the kids, spending a lot of time with the boys, spending a lot of time with my wife Anu, being home has been something which is bliss, I would say. It's, I think, a blessing in disguise. With the rat race we lead nowadays, I think getting moments like this to spend at home, spend time with your family, uh, watch them do everything every day, has actually been very, very positive in my life. These few days has been a blessing in disguise. It has worked well for both me, the family. So I would actually say it's been great times, and I really think it's absolutely been fine being locked up. Positively, it's been great. Yeah, negatively, it's a pandemic. So let's say it's difficult on all of us. We have all been tied down, but we all know that we are working together. We're trying to keep ourselves together. But still, when you sit down, you have a loneful moment. You have these thoughts that come into the mind that say, what's tomorrow? What's next? When is this going to be over? How long is it going to take? Will I get back to my normal life ever? Will I be earning the same kind of money again? There are small things like this which are going to bother me. And I would say these are the negative points, just the thoughts which run through your mind. But otherwise, we are all at a pause in our life. Hit a pause button. We are just waiting to hit the play button, and it's all continue from where we had all left off. Sitting at home, I'm sitting at home. I think that's something which mentally we should tell ourselves that we are all back home and locked down. So there's really moving ahead. So the fear aspect is something we should deal with it as a positive than a negative. But yeah, if you really want to look into it or touch on a particular topic, these small little questions of what's next, what's happening in the future, when is it going to start again, are the negative parts of life at the moment, right? Where humanity is taking us, yes, we have all learned our lesson. We have all been tied down. We have learned to commit to all the restrictions, wash our hands, keep our social distancing. So this is something which has taught all of us something. And this is a small little script in our book, which I would say is a lesson we are learning. So I would actually say, let's all be what we are. And humanity has already been taken a difference in our lives. We have all understood that working in different ways is a possibility. Not going out there, crowding the roads, being there in the heart of the business is something which is a necessity. You can do it other ways. So I guess everyone has learned our lessons, and we know how to do things in a better and a different way. So we should continue. We should give all our support to the government, to the people, and to all the doctors. Hats off to all the doctors helping us fight this situation. All the social workers. WHO has done wonders to the world. Every update we get from the media, they have all really, put their sweat and blood into this. And as citizens of this country, and we should just try and really try and give them all the support and get through this COVID-19 lockdown.
Super. Thanks, Rahul, for your time. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I hope our listeners have gotten to know you a little bit better. I look forward to catching up with you soon, although we never know when that's going to be, as soon as we can. Ladies and gentlemen, Rahul is the founder and head instructor at the Epic Golf Academy in Clover Greens in Bangalore. And though playing below par on the course may not be something that all of us can achieve, Rahul's story is proof that if you have the right conviction towards decisions that you make and are passionate about what you do and the path that you've chosen to follow, being way above par off the course is something that all of us can achieve in our lives. Thanks, Rahul. Thank you.
Thanks, JJ. It was great talking to you, and small little word of advice to all the players, all the juniors. I think everyone should get out there to love the game, to enjoy the game, and success will automatically follow.
Okay.
All right?
Have a good day.
Thanks. Thank you.